Hi, we're just going to give it a minute for everybody to be able to log in and connect as people are connecting from around the world. Okay, we'll get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Schmodaloka, and I am the CEO of NUE COO Energy. Welcome to our Real Experience webinar. I would like to especially welcome our guests from the Ukraine health sector and Ukrainian-oriented foundations in Canada and the United States. Our company is here because climate-driven disasters are increasing exponentially, requiring ever more autonomous and longer runtime backup power solutions. But we're here today in this webinar because of a man-made humanitarian disaster brought about by Russia's war in Ukraine. NUE responded on February 25th to the escalation and brought some of the first solar generators to hospitals and clinics in Ukraine, and recently the first solar UPS that we now manufacture in Europe. We have facilitated also millions of dollars of technology-related projects, not just as a part of our business, but because we are in a position to help. We are passionate about helping survivors and to help Ukraine win this war and then rebuild with a new electrical grid, one that is resilient, distributed, and with less reliance on fossil fuels. There are a number of similar contributors on this call. NUE is cooperating, for example, with Energy Act Ukraine, represented by Anastasia Vereshchenska, who is bringing solar plus storage installations to schools and hospitals. I want to thank also our NGO partners, such as Footprint Project, Global Empowerment Mission, Smart Aid, Zatishne Mista, Direct Relief, Unite to Light, ITDRC, Airlink, and many others. The list of requests for our solutions is long, and sadly, the list of donors is too short. So I hope this webinar inspires more action. We all know that the electricity situation in Ukraine is dire. But the question is, why seek alternatives to gas or diesel generators? Pound for pound, fuel is the most efficient energy storage. They are necessary, but they can't be the sole source. For example, diesel is prioritized for the Army and is in limited supply. When the power is out, most gas stations don't work. Finding gas canisters to store fuel is hard right now in Ukraine. Sadly, there have already been reports of deaths from using generators. Portable generators just aren't designed for constant use. They need maintenance as they are motors, so they have moving parts. Just imagine where we are heading, hundreds of thousands of generators at work at one time. The stress that creates in society is significant. There was a great article, and I posted it in the chat in Glafcom UA today, and you can hit the translate, about some of the dangers of using gas generators, especially on balconies. So Ukrainians are learning. Right now, they are critical. They keep things going. But in my view, it's not sustainable. It needs a mix of solutions. The way we can do mobile solar and solar UPSs today was just not possible several years ago. Our technology and products focus on 5 pillars of improvement of backup power: long run times using lithium batteries, safety, ease of use, environmental improvements, and finally, high performance operations in difficult operating environments. Our guest speakers today have been pre-recorded but unscripted. They will recount their experiences in their own words. This is a webinar with real experiences. Each one has a different viewpoint. There will be a Q&A at the end, so please post your questions as they arise in the chat. The first video is from the very front lines this summer, a Tier 1 clinic in Donbass near Severodonetsk. The coolest part is that this clinic has moved on and our equipment easily moved on with it. Redeployability is a key feature during disasters or humanitarian relief efforts.
Світла і води тут немає вже 3 місяці. Маємо електричний генератор. Ось панелі сонячні. І дротики йдуть до цієї чудо-штуки, яка тримає і Starlink добу, і цей холодильничок, у якому є інсуліни і всякі речі, які потребують холодового ланцюжка. Так що дуже дякую за таку штуку. Юра дуже помічна. Дякую.
Our second is from Dr. Dmitro F. We call him the solar doctor. His full name has been withheld due to security reasons, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Так, я в лікарні, я завідувач відділення реанімації інтенсивної терапії. Крім того, я є обласним експертом з анестезіології по нашій, Миколаївській області. Мирний час був, то ми були фактично єдиною лікарнею на всю область, яка повноцінно могла приймати хворих з політравмою. Це де є поранення кінцівок, грудної клітки, живота, голови, тому що в нас є профільні відділення, які можуть охватити повністю все тіло людини, скажімо так. Тому виходить, що коли почалася війна, то ми стали як головним місцем, куди звозили, тому що, як правило, всі поранення мирного населення, і не тільки, це, як правило, політравма, тому що вони виходять десь після, першій годині ночі. Вони випустили одну крилату ракету по лікарні, і другу за паркан, там рядом інша лікарня, і виходить, що одна влучила, в нас декілька корпусів у лікарні, і той корпус, який якраз наш основний корпус відгороджував від напрямку Херсону, в нього влучила ракета. У нас були проблеми зі світлом, його вимикали, потім зайнялись генераторами шукати, ви мені допомогли, прислали сонячні генератори, то я собі в відділенні зробив певну автономію, тому що в мене є акумулятори майже у всіх апаратах, штучна вентиляція легень, плюс в мене запас ваші акумулятори, тому що в мене виходить апарати
sorry, guys.
Десь до 350 Вт тягнуть один апарат. Штучна вентиляція легень з компресором. І виходить, що я на один ваш генератор, ще це два були, ті маленькі, то його вистачало на цілу палату, тобто на 4 хворих. І на 4 апарати ІВЛ, на дозатори, на монітори пацієнта, які міряють тиск, слідкують за сатурацією, за серцевою діяльністю, ЕКГ пишуть, то повністю на 4 хворих одного генератора вистачає. Купили генератор, який підключали до корпуса основного, а в нас сама проводка доволі стара. Кабеля самі.
Так.
І автомати старі. А в нас сонячні панелі я підключав, але вони, виходить, якщо підключаєш багато предметів живлення, сонячні панелі не встигають. Я десь так порахував, вони десь Вт 200 заряджають. Дають зарядку.
Так,
і виходить, що якщо залишати на цілий день, то вона заряджає. А якщо вона є споживання, в мене десь 1,5-2 кВт доходить, в пік. Але тільки з'являлось світло, я підключав і швидко від мережі заряджав до повного. Так, якщо не було світла, то я чіпляв панелі. Якщо було світло, то я швидко від розетки до цього користувався тільки павербанками, які дають постійний струм на телефони заряджати, які на 10 тисяч мА на 20. Тому я взагалі, чесно, я навіть не знав, що є такі штуки, реально не знав. Не те, що ми тут дикуни, просто нас настільки хватало всього, води, світла, ми навіть не думали, що треба про це переживати, і у нас немає таких пристроїв, просто ми не користувалися ними. Тобто, коли ви передали, я взагалі був дуже здивований, вражений, і Покликав головного лікаря з начмедом, в них теж був подив дуже великий. Штука класна для підстраховки. Ну, коли от такі от ситуації критичні можуть бути, то це незамінна річ, просто незамінна. Тому що в нас, коли був блекаут повний області всієї, то щоб ви зрозуміли, в нас навіть заправки не працювали. Тому що, по-перше, майже на всіх заправках немає генераторів. Тобто вони не можуть теж дистопливо або бензин просто достати з резервуарів. Друге, касові апарати не працюють. І магазини не працюють, заправки не працюють. Тобто у деяких були генератори, але заправляти не було чим. Тобто у нас, це, я не знаю, до цього просто такого ніколи не було. Коли в тебе немає мобільного зв'язку, немає інтернету, немає де що купити, і заправки не працюють. У нас на все місто працювало 5 заправок, там такі черги були сумасшедші просто. І топливо скінчилося влітку, коли було сонце вище, то зарядка йшла значно швидше. Зараз вона потихеньку, але якщо в нас сутки не виключають світло, я можу на сутки кинути, то воно за день не заряджає весь акумулятор, воно десь декілька днів зараз. Це гарна альтернатива, розумієте, в будь-якому випадку. Тобто, тут нема що. Є, от у моїй реанімації в мене є 4 зали, де ми лікуємо хворих. Надаємо допомогу першу невідкладно, тобто реанімуємо їх, проводимо перші заходи, щоб підготувати до операційної, і 14 операційних залів. От, грубо кажучи, один такий санкіт – це одна кімната. От я зараз, якщо вдасться ці великі полагодити, то я свою реанімацію перекрию повністю. А в операційній, тобто якщо ви щось ще зможете висадити, то я зможу це поставити стаціонарно в операційній, щоб воно там стояло просто. Тому що в мене реанімація вже буде перекрита. Саме складне і необхідне – це реанімація в першу чергу, тому що якщо там щось піде не так або зникне світло, то людина просто вмирає, пацієнт вмирає. Тобто наступний в мене на черзі – це операційна. Як я повністю закрию питання з реанімацією, то наступна буде. У мене в реанімації люди, які на штучній вентиляції легень. Тобто, якщо апарат не дихає, людина вмре. Потім в мене дуже великий відсоток пацієнтів, на жаль, тому що крововтрати великі, вони не тримають тиск. І в них по дозатору завжди йде норадреналін, який тримає їм тиск. Дозатор – це теж електричний прибор, який дозволяє вводитись медикамент, препарат норадреналіну з певною швидкістю, щоб тримати тиск на рівні 120-130 мм ртутного стовпчика. Тобто виходить, що є такі речі, які без електрики вони неможливі. Їх руками сам не зробиш просто.
So I think that's a pretty dramatic summary. The one thing I want to comment on is that we've recently been able to send Mitras some more solar panels, and because in the wintertime you need to increase the amount of panels you have to get that same yield. So next up is Shahar Zahavi, the founder of Smart Aid, somebody I've worked with very closely, who's very dedicated to making the humanitarian situation in Ukraine better in any way possible by applying technology. But I'll let Shahar introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Shahar. I'm the head and founder of Smart Aid, which is an international tech aid organization, and our specialty is integrating technology into humanitarian settings. Smart Aid is a 7-year-old charity, but all of us, including me, all the board members, volunteers, have over 20 years of experience in the tech industry as well as humanitarian aid industry. Smart Aid has been providing technological solutions around the world, ranging from clean water, clean energy, fintech, telecommunication solutions across Africa, Asia, Latin America. And we have various technological partners that we work with, and it's just growing and growing. philosophy behind Smart Aid is leveraging technology to improve, enhance, and provide technological solutions in times of catastrophes, something that the traditional humanitarian system is slowly adapting and adopting. And this is something that we've been working on to really integrate into the humanitarian system. So Smart Aid has been involved in helping Ukraine since the beginning of the war. And what we've been doing is we've been working both in Ukraine, Moldova, and Poland, providing solar energy, putting up smart classes, opening telemedicine programs, communication systems, and putting up Wi-Fi's and stuff. We put up over 180 smart classes, which provide online education to Ukrainian kids who are both in Poland, Moldova, as well as in Ukraine itself. With regarding to the solar energy and energy generally in Ukraine, we have been partnering with NUE COO Energy because we feel that in every program that we do, we focus not only on the immediate response, but also on the long-term sustainability side of it. And when it comes to providing electricity and generally electricity to communities in need and disasters, we don't believe that regular generators always offer the long-term solution. It sometimes even costs more on the long run. And actually with NUE COO Energy, we were able to provide and continue to provide different arrays of technological solutions to hospitals, shelters, communities. Not only now, it's going to help, not only that it's going to help the communities and the service providers, governments, and the different charities that we work with in times of disaster and in the current situation in the winter, but also in the long run, in the next few years, people would be able to enjoy this product because it'll reduce the amount of money and that they would have to invest in electricity. The cost of electricity is jumping, and eventually for us, it's very sustainable program. So, well, the intersection between the smart classes and the solar generators is very important at this stage, because for us, we're looking for a solution where we don't have to all the time provide gas and other and fuel and logistics. We need to find permanent solutions to our smart classes where we have thousands and tens of thousands of kids learning and teachers teaching kids on a daily basis for the next few years. And with NUE COO Energy's solar generators and other units, it actually allows us to adapt these smart classes as well as the different hospital units that we help in a way that they won't have to always look for donors and money and support. It'll be actually very self-sustainable. Our current goal, what Smart Aid is doing now, we're working towards the winter as well as towards the next half year, and our focus is to expand and enhance the integration of more solar energy units across the country, whether it's in health and education and in the shelters themselves. And we've been reaching out to partners, to foundations, to different corporations that we work with. And we have an appeal, and we're trying to fundraise and build partnerships to bring in more solar units to help the country. So we'd be happy, and we're appealing here to hopefully build more partnerships with interested individuals, corporations, and charities. So please feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks you very much, Shahar, for all of your dedication and work in Ukraine. So next up is Yeremy Vachio, somebody that we couldn't have achieved what we have in Ukraine without him. He's done an amazing, tireless job in all the logistics and distribution, and he's going to aggregate his experiences with all of the users to whom he's provided our various solutions.
Hi, my name is Yurema. I was born originally in Lviv, in Ukraine, and I'm working here. I'm working for a big international company. I'm not a commercial representative of NUE Energy. And after the beginning of the war, I started to work also as a volunteer, because there was a period when the war started. I was in Kiev. I was escaping from Kiev as a lot of other Ukrainians. 500 kilometers takes me 20 hours. Later, we take a decision that my wife, together with two small kids, will also leave Ukraine, and they go to Poland. And I was thinking, what should I do? How can I help my my country? How can I help my people? And occasionally, probably in the second day of the war, I received a call that there is a donation for Ukraine, and can I help with them? I like this idea, and if we are talking about now, when we have probably 270 days of the war, I can say that probably my role is to be as a volunteer, to coordinate the process, to build the bridges between NGOs and local institutions from another side, to be a representative from one side also for NGOs. We have a lot of examples, and I can share with you that here in Ukraine, we are in very good cooperation with NGO Zatishne Misto from one side, and with Smart 8 NGO from another side. From the first donations, which started probably from beginning of March, we start to distribute surgery lamps for the hospitals which were in need. Later on, we were helping with solar lamps, with batteries, with iPads, with generators, with medicines, and all other stuff. And probably due to the reason that I have more than 22 years of experience in Ukrainian market, I have strong connections. And immediately when I receive a request or information that something is coming, I was trying to find the people who were in need of this. I mean, we are not talking about just like persons. I mean the hospitals, I mean dormitories, refugees houses, and the rest. And that's how I can say we build really reliable connections and relations between local institutions, let's call like that, and NGOs which were sending donations to Ukraine. I'm really proud that as right now I can call even for the first donations for the hospitals which receive this equipment, and immediately they'll report what's going on with that. As of today, really, this is a very crucial situation in Ukraine. We really have a lot of blackouts. There are problems with heating, with water consumption, and even sometime we receive information that recommendation, let's call, from some people from government, they recommend even to leave Ukraine, because we know how Russia is attacking infrastructure, electrical plants, and looks like that this winter will be crucial for whole world, but mainly for Ukraine. And when we start on the beginning with solar generators, we find that there is a huge need of them now, and they're really useful, because on the beginning of the war, when the first generators come, there were different types, and the different types are for different users. because I can say that we donate these generators to hospitals, to refugee camps, to dormitories, even to police and the fire department. The first reaction mainly from all users, let's call, or for all people who receive donation, was give us more. And everybody still, I receive calls that, guys, do you have more, because we need more. And you know, the people know that there was big donation for Ukraine for these generators, and there are a lot of users of that. I can say that with help of Smart Aid, we have a common meeting with Ministry of Health, and the last recipients, they receive the list was conducted by Ministry of Health, and mainly for the regions which were or on the front line or which were on the occupation, and now they're free, and all of them were very happy, and all of them really asked for more. If we are talking about technical part, is it hard for them or no? I can tell you that no, because first of all, there is local partner here in Ukraine who is providing service and instructions. Plus, it's really easy to install them, to connect them, and to use them. And plus, all of them receive instructions in Ukrainian language, even video part, how to use them. What else? The feedback which I receive, due to the reason that those generators provide like constant voltage, so there are no jumps. This is very important for sensitive equipment, which are used in the hospitals and you know, in other parts. Refrigerators from police part, they're charging their walkie-talkies, drones. So in general, everything what needs electricity can be used by mentioned generators. So there are a lot of cases which I can say. One of them, when we visited together with Shahar, Kyiv Kids Ohmedit Hospital. The chief of this hospital, he was very proudly announcing that they put this generator to their ambulances, and even he say how they were using this. For sure, they're expecting more, and we need to help them as much as possible, because before this donation, I even was not thinking that we can use this generator in these needs. Mainly, I was thinking that it should be like fixed, stable, and that's it. But it was their idea, and after that, I just like opened. Yeah, really, it's cool idea. So due to the reason that we have now a lot of connection, we are cooperating and helping a lot of organizations, hospitals. First of all, I would like to say thank to all people who support Ukraine, to all people who donate to Ukraine, and who are continuously doing this, because still we have a lot of things what to do, and after the victory there will be even more. And if you're talking about current days, there is really huge problem with electricity, even more than it was in the summertime. So we have a lot of requests from government side, from local institutions, from hospitals, from refugee camps, dormitories. So if there will be possibility to receive as much as possible, I can tell you very honestly that all of them will be used.
Thank you, Yarema, for that very sobering reminder of the current situation and all the demand. And thanks for all your selfless work. Yarema works like 3 jobs. So next up will be Lee Feliciano. We're changing a bit off Ukraine just to show you a little bit of the products. Lee's gonna cover in two short presentations. First, how easy it is to use solar panels and maximize their performance. Lee's been in the solar industry for over 20 years. And secondly, the types of appliances that you can use if you've got a right-sized inverter in the solar generators.
Hi, this is Lee. Today we're going to talk about how to get the most power that you can from your solar panel into your solar generator. It doesn't matter which one of these solar generators we're talking about. The concept is the same. The main thing you have to remember is keep the solar panel facing as directly as you can into the sun with no shading or minimum amount of shading. That includes throughout the day shade that might come from trees or buildings as the sun moves. You want to try and position this thing so that the longest possible amount of time during the day, especially the middle of the day, the solar panel remains unshaded. Okay. Really beyond that, it's a simple process. All of NUE Energy's solar generators are pretty much plug and play. Once you position the solar panel, this could be on the outside of your building, and this could be on the inside. All you do is you connect the MC4s, and then depending on which product you have, you turn on a breaker, and you turn on the switch, and you're good to go.
So just want to highlight that Lee was showing our trifold panel, which is a 210 watt panel. We actually go up to 420 watts that you can tuck under your arm, easily fit in the back of a truck. And I do want to highlight that the panels that are used there and all that we provide to Ukraine are high efficiency. They have the same production as glass panels. They aren't any cutouts or derivatives. They are real military specification solar panels. So the next section, Lee's gonna show you guys a bit like you can run microwaves and other things and how to kind of load up one of the solar generators. And it'll show our newest model at the front there.
My name is Lee with NUE Energy, and today we're going to answer a question we get asked a lot, which is, what can your device power? So every device, every solar generator has a maximum output rating that it's capable of, and that's typically measured in terms of watts. Okay, the device that we are going to demo today is one of our new sun case units that has a 2,000 watt inverter. Okay, that's the maximum output that that inverter can produce. Now, to answer the question, what can it power? It really depends on what the energy consumption rating of the device is that you are using. So for instance, I have some larger devices or more power hungry devices over here, like this microwave, which is rated at 1600 watts. We have this electric burner, which is rated at 1,000 watts maximum. So it can run a little less, but maximum 1,000 watts. We have this electric kettle, which is rated at 1,500 watts maximum. And then on the smaller side, we have cell phones, which typically are rated between about 5 and 15 watts each. And then we have a laptop, which this is rated at about 35 watts. This, depending on the power supply you have for your laptop, this particular one is 35 watts, right? So again, when you go back to the question, what can it power? At a 2,000 watt capacity, you can pretty much power everything on this side of the table, but you can then power probably only one thing at a time on this side of the table. But you can use all that at the same time, right? In other words, I can be running either this hot plate or this microwave or this kettle and all of these devices at the same time. So let's use this kettle as an example. This is a 1,500 watt load. And in fact, I'm going to plug it in right now so we can check that. Okay, it's cranking up. So you can see that the kettle is pulling 1,275 watts right now as it's heating up, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm also gonna plug in the phone charger. So I'm gonna be charging 2 phones at the same time as I'm running the kettle. And see it barely jump. It's 1280 watts, so just a little bit, about 10 watts more, right? Now let's plug in the computer. Okay. And now we're at 1300 watts. Okay. So you can see how I am powering this device, this device, this device, and this device all at the same time, right? And we're still at 1300 watts, which means we have about 700 watts left. So not quite enough to power one of these devices, because like I said, this is 1600, this is 1000. But I could be powering easily 3, 5, even 10 more laptops at the same time, right? And I could definitely be powering, 20, 30 more of these cell phones at the same time, while I'm either boiling a pot of water or heating something on this burner or cooking something in the microwave.
Okay, so that concludes the formal presentations. I just want to highlight some of the things that experiences that our users have, NGOs and such, after disasters. One of the things they do is create large charging stations. While we provide up to 10 USB ports on most of our solar generators, it's easy to create an extension and charge up to 50 other devices. We've done these, for example, on the border with US and Mexico, creating large charging stations for those that are stranded on the Mexican side. And then they also, of course, are able to power up other devices, needs lights at night. I would like to highlight that in humanitarian disasters, some of the priorities, number one, people want to stay connected. We've heard quotes where people say, I'll give up lunch if I, in lieu of charging my phone and being able to stay connected to my loved ones. But closely thereafter is refrigeration, both for personal needs, keeping your food preserved, as well as medical refrigeration needs, insulin and the like. High priority is medical devices in the home, such as oxygen concentrators and or CPAP machines. Then there's lighting, of course, a critical issue. Lighting is tied into security. And which there are, of course, many security issues after disasters or in humanitarian relief situations, and the list goes on and on. And of course, in the winter in Ukraine, there are concerns about heating and other things. One of the things is you can back up the device that actually provides and ignites gas heating in the home. That's relatively easy. I do that in my home with solar. But heating takes a lot of energy. If you notice that Lee pointed out, how much that kettle uses and the like. So there are, one of the reasons why Lee was showing you how much watts per hour it uses, it allows you to understand what you want to do versus the capabilities of any unit. And of course, the larger the unit, the more battery capacity you're going to have, and the smaller it is, the less you're going to have, and the less you can do with it. But the two critical factors are the inverter you have, the battery size you have, and then of course how fast can you recharge the batteries. The one thing that we do, because we have an industrial commercial grade solutions, is that we provide multiple charging sources, and they have to be fast because you don't know how long the power is going to be on. So in any case, I'd like to turn this over to questions. We have some great guests. And Andy, how do you want to go forward with questions?
Yeah, if you want to start, if you can see the Q&A there, start maybe with some of these questions here. We've got about 5 in there right now.
Right.
Yeah, hi, this is Lee. I guess there are a couple of comments, so we'll skip the comments and go to the questions. So the one that has come up a couple of times relates to charging times for the solar generator. How many cycles or how long does it take, how many hours? And the way I'm going to start to answer that is let's use a regular gas generator as your analog, right? Your comparison. So the battery in the solar generator is basically the fuel tank of a regular generator. And the solar panels represent the fuel, right? The solar generates the fuel. So really, it's a combination of those two factors, right? How long does it take to charge up the battery? Well, how big is the battery? How large is the fuel tank? And also, how much solar do you have to charge that battery? So one of the presenters at the beginning talked about how in the winter time, the solar array he had, which was a 320 watt array, was only generating about 200 watts. Now that could be a combination of not getting full sun or shading, as I mentioned in my presentation, but also, the wintertime has shorter days, fewer sun hours, so you will generate less energy. But the solution to that is to add more solar. And, when we ship those units in the summertime, that solar panel was capable of charging the solar generator it was hooked up to, like in the Magic Box video. It could charge up that solar generator in approximately half a day. However, with the winter and the shorter days, you're getting about, anywhere from a half to a third or less of the same production during that day. And the solution is to add more solar, right? So you could literally double or triple the amount of solar panels that you're attaching to achieve the same production during the day. So, the units that we sent were a certain configuration, but the beauty is there's flexibility so that you can actually add either solar capacity, right, to increase the amount of energy you produce during the day. And some of our newer units actually have modular battery systems, so you can also increase the size of the fuel tank.
I just want to comment as well. We design our systems so they work with any solar panel. That's very different to a lot of these consumer grade type products out there that have proprietary connectors and the like. So because we work in disasters and humanitarian relief, we understand that you might be able to find any solar panel locally and you have to be able to plug it in. So I just wanted to comment on that. Are there any, I'm just going to go through, Lee, at the top. We can share this. Are there any possibility to connect with windmill generators, and have you tested any? We would use those with our larger sun kits, but I just want to comment that, one of the reasons why we use solar is that it's very predictable. We know where it is, and there's strong record of it. With wind, it's great because it does provide energy at night. It's a nice augmentation, but you need, the higher up you are, the better it performs, meaning above the ground level. So you have to be able to get up high, and it's hard to be able to understand the consistency of it. It's a little harder than predicting, solar, where you can really see what the generation is going to be like in the coming days. But I'm hoping for improvements in small wind because it certainly is a nice addition at night. Considering how many light hours in Ukraine, how much time is needed for a full charge of the battery? Mario, that very much depends on the size of the battery and the size of the panels you have. Lee, perhaps you can comment how long it takes, for example, for X and X for 2.5 kilowatt hour or 5 kilowatt hour.
Yeah, so that was one of the questions that I responded to up front, but just to provide a little more color, when you have again, we'll call it a 200 watt solar panel, you are typically not producing that 200 watts unless you're under perfect conditions, perfect temperature, perfect amount of light. You're typically producing something less than that. And so generally speaking, as a guideline, we base, our formula when we pair up a battery and a solar panel on how much solar do you need to charge the battery up on average in about half a day, right? Because there are a lot of variables. But again, as I mentioned, it depends on the time of year. And if you have shorter days like we do right now in the Northern Hemisphere, simply adding solar panels, and we design our equipment so that you have quite a bit of flexibility in how much more solar you can add. So that addresses the question in a way in the summertime. it only took me 4 hours. Now it's taking me 8 hours, right? But if you add another solar panel, you're back to 4 hours. So there is that flexibility.
Okay, in Cone, Michael Fraser asked, how long does it run typical regular refrigerator? I think that's an important point, not just for CONUS, but for Ukraine or anywhere. Number one, of course, it depends on the size of the refrigerator and the age. The age is a big difference because of the improvements in efficiency. But we've run, for example, off our smallest units with 600 watt hours, we've run freezers 12 hours. You can run refrigerators typically 1 to 2 days, depending how often you open them, how often that compressor is kicking on. But our DC freezers, for example, that we work with are going to pull 80 watts, let's say. And, you know, we actually do projects. We did a big project with diabetic veterans of the Navajo Nation. And with what was that, about a 12 volt, 200 amp hour battery, we go completely year round off grid with one solar panel.
Yeah, you can, DC equipment tends to be much more energy efficient than regular AC equipment. And so the DC powered fridges that we have used in the past can actually run for over a week off a, you know, let's say roughly a 12 volt, 200 amp hour battery, depending again on a number of variables. But attaching a single, in the case of the Navajo project, we attached a single repurposed donated solar panel, 250 watt solar panel. And that configuration is essentially capable of running that fridge indefinitely.
And that's a 210 liter fridge, quite large.
Yes.
William Odo asks, can excess power not be used by a generator, be stored or used to charge other batteries? I mean, yes, you could, because you can connect an inverter. If it's connected to those batteries, you can connect it to the primary solar generator. Mike Baraban, does the recent pledge by US and its allies to help fight Ukraine with its energy infrastructure include mobile solar systems? Mike, not that I know of. We are trying to get in touch with USAID and the like. The focus has been, I know Ambassador Powers from USAID has announced, you know, large amount of diesel generators for hospitals. So I am trying to advocate, and anybody else's assistance there would be appreciated. Holger Blossom asked about initiatives in Europe or Germany. We actually manufacture in Germany our SunKit International, which has been shipped to Ukraine to hospitals. And it's tied into your second comment, or there's an additional comment about use in hospitals. So that product, for example, is a solar UPS. It has less than 10 milliseconds of transfer time if grid power goes down. It is designed for use with sensitive hospital equipment. And at 5 kilowatt hours, that's a very large battery. And the recharge time is amazing. We have a very strong 100 amp charger, 80 amp charger on the unit, and it can charge in a little over an hour, all 5 kilowatt hours. So if the power is going on and off, one thing to consider is if it goes off for a very long period and you have solar power to augment it, that's super. But if it's going on and off, you don't even need the solar power. You just need a really strong charger, and then it's going to charge really fast when you have power. So I've worked in many countries around the world where they have a similar grid situation to Ukraine today. It's not unique. What's unique in Ukraine is that it's in Europe and this is happening. But in Asia and Africa and Latin America, Caribbean, there are countries that have extreme grid problems. And just having an inverter with batteries and a fast charger is usually what people will eventually migrate to, because they get tired of the whole fuel situation. So I hope I've answered several questions at once. Lee, do you want to take Olga Urmi's question about weather conditions?
Yes, I answered that earlier, but I'll just clarify further. So yes, shade, as I indicated in my presentation, which includes clouds, because clouds essentially shade the sun, will affect the output of the solar. And it really varies. Again, I don't mean to avoid the question, but the answer is it depends, right, on the degree of shading or the degree of sunlight that is hitting the solar panel. So you'll always get a little bit of production, but it could range from 100% down to 10, 20% in an extreme example. So and as I indicated earlier, one solution to that is adding more solar. So you produce more energy from the same amount of light. The other is having a larger battery so that when the lighting is good, you can store more energy for those cloudy days, right? In fact, when people design off-grid systems that they actually have to live off, often a battery is sized such that it can support what they call several days of autonomy. In other words, when there's bad weather, snow, rain, whatever, the battery can basically ride out, for several days, given that the amount of energy being generated is a fraction of what it normally would. Now, again, there is a cost associated with that, right? There's a cost and a size issue. So just like any portable power resource, even a gas generator, right? It is a limited resource. You only can operate as long as you have fuel. You only can operate, with as much fuel as your tank can hold, right? So it's important that users understand the difference when they are off the grid, because they have to learn how to deal with that limited resource and how to use it to its maximum potential.
Yep. Olena, what do you mean? Just a final comment about hospital. One thing's about using normal generators in hospitals, as they need filters. There's a lot, generators don't provide consistent power. They can go up and down. Our equipment is in Ukraine, for example, in Charkiv, is used in a lab. So it backs up all the sensitive lab equipment because it is working directly off, off the batteries with a pure sine wave. Chiara Buzico asked, you provide post-sale assistance. Yarema referred to that. So Tavito LLC, currently in Lviv, provides the post-sale support, and it's important because there are always questions and spare parts and the like if something happens because somebody kicks something over or who knows what. So the answer is yes. As far as backlog of supplies, we have products actually coming on board in Germany in our sun kits, and then those are actually the larger ones where we're focusing on field hospitals. And just one thing, there is one rule: small is great, it's highly portable. Medium is gives you that little bit more power, but over time, the longer you work with portable power, you always end up wanting more and more energy. And so, looking at Vladislav Berezovsky's question, that product in the video that Lee has is a 4 kilowatt hour unit. So we provide in our ultra portable range, 1280 watt hours, 2560, 4 kilowatts, and a 5 kilowatt hour. And then we move, and those are interconnectable. So it's not like you have to attach another battery to it like some other guys do. We actually just connect with a cable and 2 units can work together. So you can get 10 kilowatt hours by having 2 5 kilowatt units connected. But also in our sun kit, we're at 5 kilowatt hours. And then we also, for Ukraine, provide just inverter plus battery solutions that are available in stock in Germany in quantities. And those can be scaled over 100 kilowatt hours. And the inverters interconnected to up to 45 kilowatts to handle large loads. Let's see, can electricity be used in battery charging? Yes, of course. And then costs of the systems assembled in Ukraine. Victor, the ultra portables are something that we designed into very specific cases. And our whole supply chain is set up to do that currently outside of Ukraine. So we take a case, we design all the power systems inside, and that's a more high volume item. As far as our sun kits, we're looking to do 2 things in Ukraine. We do want to bring them in, or we are bringing them in from Germany. We can do final assembly in Ukraine because sometimes it's easier to ship them in parts for weight reasons. But we also want to introduce something that's done in the United States with our sun kit, which is called a community resilience build. So Footprint Project has pioneered this, where they find corporate sponsors and donors and NGOs, and they go into an at-risk community, for example, in New Orleans, which is at risk to hurricanes. And they would organize, so actually they teach classes on how to assemble these solar kits and these sun kits. And the end production is going to be that the community then has a resilience device that's available after disasters. So if anybody is interested in that, you can email me. I put my email in the chat, but that's something we very much would like to get going in Ukraine. So Kieran asked about connection. Yes, we are connected with Direct Relief. No, we're not. I believe American Red Cross doesn't do Ukraine. They do. It's International Red Cross. I'm not an expert, but Red Cross is a rather large organization with its own priority. We'd love to, we'd like to connect with them definitely more. So if you have the ability to introduce us, we'd appreciate that at American Red Cross. Are we only company doing this? This type of work, disaster Ukraine, non-proprietary plugs. There's other companies that make consumer grade. There are some Ukrainian companies that make some neat solutions, like battery only solutions for military. We're a bit unique in that we have a wide lineup of products, in that we do not just the ultra portables, but we make the solar UPSs and the sun kits, which are larger and more powerful systems. And of course, we also actually design and manufacture solar trailers. So I think what's unique about us is that we have a variety of products, and we adapt quickly to a situation. So for example, we saw that in Ukraine, it is a really good option to have just an inverter and batteries, and a larger bank that is possible in a mobile solution. So we have configured, for example, like I said, a 10 kilowatt hour inverter with 40 kilowatt hours of storage that can go all the way up to 100 kilowatt hours of 40 kilowatts of inverters. So there are some varieties. Like I said, there's more variety of consumer type products. There aren't that many companies doing industrial commercial grade and with the non-proprietary connectors focus. There's a couple out there, not really in Ukraine. So for now, I hope that answers your question. Lee, you want to take Bill Bright?
Yeah, we can take that offline. That's not related to the main topic of this conversation. So.
But Bill, just so you know, Lee's our expert, and he works extensively with the Navajo Nation. The Wendy Dankoff, Lee, that's somebody who's your colleague.
Yeah, hi, Wendy. Let's see, your question is, how does the user monitor charge rate, power consumption? Yeah, so depending on the product, our larger products, have a display which actually shows you not just the battery state of charge, but what's coming in and what's going out. It's a very simple display. So it's, it basically shows you either in watts or amps what's coming in and what's going out. And typically we don't have all the feature set of like a larger home or commercial system, other than our sun kits, which do incorporate some of those more sophisticated inverters. But the smaller portable ones have a very limited feature set and are really designed for ruggedness and portability.
Okay. What are the costs for such units? They're going to range from $1,200 to $6,000, depending on the size of the units. And I do want to comment that these are batteries that have 4,000 plus cycle lives. So these are not short-term products. Definitely more expensive than a gasoline generator up front. But when you consider the time and effort and everything you have to invest to keep that one going, the total cost of ownership starts to pencil out. I did comment earlier that in places like Venezuela, Dominican Republic, and in Africa, where I've worked extensively in off-grid and grid-tie battery backup solar the last 12 years, those markets all tend to move away from gas generators to more permanent either solar plus storage, or at least grid tie inverters with storage over time, because of the cost factors involved in running them. So if Ukraine does continue to experience, which I think this is going to go on for a decent amount of time, the investment in the battery and inverters is a good one from a cost perspective. I'll comment on the portable solar panels that we make. So these are, like I said, mil-spec panels. They do produce the same efficiency as glass panels without the obvious issues of weight and cumbersomeness and the like. They are about 2 to 3x more expensive than glass panels. So just to have the right expectation. There are cheaper portable panels out in the market. We've tried them. We don't sell them anymore. And there's a good reason why we don't, because they just simply didn't last, didn't produce. And that's just not something that we can afford for our users. So we've gone for the quality solution that is more costly, but is a long-term product. Elena, I'll answer to you about spec sheets. www.nueuseenergy.com has most of them, although we have some new products not on the website that we're shipping to Ukraine. So you can email me and I'd be happy to provide those to you. Sorry, we're putting out so many new models right now that we're still catching up on our website. Mike Baraban about medical and combat backpacks. Mike, that's a little bit hard. I think that you start getting, there are smaller units you can fit into a backpack, I think is the question. But as far as the solar charging, I mean, that's a tough one because they're trickle chargers when they're that size. That is, as an ex-US Army officer, I'll say that, battery technology is improving. And solar charging is possible, but you're going to have to carry it, and you always want to have a good sized battery. So somebody's going to have to hump it.
If I can just add to that,
please.
Mike, there are quite a few more consumer oriented portable products that are sold at stores like REI, where it's definitely enough to charge your cell phone, or perhaps even operate a small radio, and the military already has some of those devices. Our focus tends to be on, the larger side of portable, where you can do more than just charge a phone or run a radio. You can do that, but you can do that and a whole bunch of other things, as I showed my video, right? And so our smallest unit can probably be put into a backpack and carried around. But we tend to pair it, like Paul said, with larger solar panels, albeit portable ones and flexible ones, so that you can actually cover all the basics. I mean, you can literally live off any of our systems and operate, your phone, computer, and a number of other appliances.
So Elena asks as well, for what programs could you offer grants or donations? So we do offer NGO pricing. I would urge you to contact or reach out to Smart Aid International, or they're probably our most active coordinator for all grants. They're the 501(c) charity that we do try to sometimes match. So if you have a need, I do let NGOs we know of it, and so do email me, Elena. But you can also, I would urge you to reach out on Smart Aid International's website, because they can put together larger programs. Okay, I'm not sure how to answer Tatiana's question about where can I read all the information. We are on social media. Please do like us on either Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter or Instagram. List of units, specs, and price. So yes, that is on our website for current models. There are some new models, like I said, that aren't yet up on the website. And I would provide pricing upon request. We are a B2B. We don't do really B2C sales. So we do make quotations. Like I said, we have special NGO pricing. We do ship. We have some products that are arriving right now in Poland. We do ship from Germany. We do ship direct from China. We do ship from the United States. So we do have kind of a varied approach. So let's see. Kieran, yes, I know pallet shelter. Thank you. Why are portable panels so much more expensive than classical glass panels? I will leave that to Lee.
So we are not the manufacturer per se of the solar panels. We purchase them and then we configure them on a canvas so that you actually have a full solar array, not a single panel, right? So we do some value add work to make them more functional. But it's really because this particular product is more of a specialty product. As you can see, there's no frame, there's no glass. And so typically the demand for these panels is more limited. They're smaller production runs. And while you can get a lower cost, similar product, what we find is they tend not to be as durable. So unfortunately, we just have to kind of live with the best that we can find out there in terms of manufacturers and the quality of the product. Like I said, there are lower cost products, but we find is, like a lot of things in the world, to a large degree, you get what you pay for.
I do want to comment as well. If you noticed on the video that Lee had, there were 3 panels set out, and what we do is we actually have Navajo solar warriors, women who come down from the Navajo Nation, and they actually manufacture these. We're very proud of that. And they actually create an array for this. So, just one of those is 70 watts. 70 watts is not enough for our commercial grade equipment. And so that's why we actually create these arrays, 3 of them, 4 of them, 6 of them. And it's an array because you only then have a single connector to make it work. And so that's critical for us. Rooks, do you partner with any organizations to rent out your equipment? We actually are looking for more rental partners. We do rent out. We do some projects, trailers, larger sun kits, and the like. For example, we're doing some projects with large solar, how would you call it? Large solar developers, and we're trying to wean them off generator usage out in the field when they're building these multi-megawatt installations. So we do actually ship equipment out there that runs their SCADA systems and telemetry for the period that they need it to run before they can provide their own electricity. So, and then of course, after disasters, yes, there's some equipment available.
Yes. Sir, if I can just add the one challenge, Bonnie, and please reach out. We'd love to talk more about it, but just for everyone else's benefit, one of the challenges we have, frankly, is that our systems are large enough that the lithium batteries are still considered hazmat, and therefore there are some logistical challenges with being able to ship them on short notice across the country. So it's mainly logistics that limits our ability to rent sort of anywhere. So there's a tendency to rent kind of where we have, we've got a facility in Washington State, one in Arizona. We have a distributor in California. So those tend to be where we rent equipment out. But we are actively pursuing and in discussions with other partners to make our equipment available to rent elsewhere.
Let's see how your products compare to this. Roxolana, I looked at it. Those are really small, tiny. So we are absolutely more in the power, anything you need in your clinic, hospital, home, telecommunications. So we're more of a heavier user. It's a dramatic difference from kind of what you guys showed there, which you showed there was basic USB port charger, which is great for devices like Lee's Apple and computer and phone. Bob Fisher commented, part of the reasons on the portable solar panels because the materials used per watt and the amount of how work required to make them. So glass panels is a huge business and has economies of scale, fully automated. Okay, well, that concludes our questions. Anybody still on and has been listening so diligently, I thank you very much for your attention. And like I said, I've posted my email. You can go to the New Use Energy website and always contact us at sales@newuseenergy.com. And, we are a consultative sale. Like I said, our focus is to work with organizations and businesses and to bring the best quality solutions to the market and, of course, to Ukraine, which was the principal reason, to share with you guys our experiences for this webinar. So Lee, anything you'd like to say in closing?
No, it's just, we welcome further discussions or inquiries. I know we're way over time, so I believe our contact information, well, I thought we had a slide that showed at the end, but newuseenergy.com, newuseenergy, all one word.com is our website, and you can get a hold of us there.
Okay, let's see, just anything else? Gene, thanks for your encouragement, Kieran as well. Have a very good day, everybody, and peace and love to Ukraine.